Good afternoon, class. I'm so excited to be teaching this lesson with you. I'm so excited because this is a great lesson and it affects us every single day. So today we're going to be talking about 3 different aspects of air. We're going to be talking about air pressure, humidity, and air temperature. Now take out your AHA books that we started in class the other day. Don't forget that AHA stands for air pressure, humidity, and air temperature. And we're going to write down a bunch of good notes. And then on the back, we're going to have some activities that you will, at least one activity that you will finish at home. So to start out, we're going to talk about air pressure, humidity, and air temperature. Now for our experiment that we'll be doing tomorrow, we won't be using humidity, but that we will be getting there later on in the week, so don't forget about humidity. Now, air pressure. We're going to start off with air pressure. Now, what is air pressure? Air pressure is the weight of the atmosphere weighing down or pressing down on the earth, and it is measured by a barometer. And how does it affect the weather? Now, on low pressure days, it's cloudy, it's rainy, there's precipitation. But on days where there's high air pressure, it is clear, it's sunny weather. Now, don't forget to write all of this in your AHA books. Now, one thing that is not on this board that I want you to note is that as air pressure goes down, the altitude goes up. So as we know, altitude is how high you are in the atmosphere. Now, air pressure goes down as the altitude goes up. Now, I am from North Carolina originally, and when I drive home to go visit my parents and my little sister, Lynchburg is in the mountains, so it has a higher altitude than where I'm from in North Carolina. That's down, it's down low, it has a lower altitude. So as I come back from home back to Lynchburg, I can feel the change in air pressure. My ears start to pop. Sometimes I get a headache because I can feel the change in air pressure in the mountains versus in the lowlands where I'm from in North Carolina. Now, humidity is the measure of moisture in the air. It is measured by a hygrometer. And how does humidity affect the weather? Humidity holds heat. Now, I'm sure you all have heard as you've gone outside, or even when you're with your parents or out shopping or somewhere, you've heard your parents say, or somebody in public say, it is so humid outside. Now, for a long time when I was younger, I would always wonder, what did it mean when people said it's so humid outside? Now, humidity holds heat. The water vapor in the air holds the heat. So when we go outside and it's really hot outside, sometimes like you sweat, but sometimes it feels like your sweat isn't evaporating or isn't leaving your body. That's because there's so much water vapor in the air that it just sticks to your skin, and your clothes can stick to you. That is why sometimes the weather will say 70 degrees, but then it'll also give you a temperature it feels like. So for example, the temperature can say 70 degrees, but it may feel like 80 degrees because the humidity is holding so much water vapor in the air, and it's just absorbing all the heat, making it feel even hotter than what it really is. Lastly, we're going to talk about air temperature, which is the measure of how hot or cold the air is. It is measured by a thermometer, as many of you already know, and it affects how hot or cold an area is. Now, I know we feel a breeze, and sometimes I know that I can get cold very easily. I always love to bundle up, and that is because of the air temperature of a region outside. So all of these are going to play a part, and just like air pressure, air temperature, the air temperature goes down as you go higher in the altitude. So say I'm climbing a mountain. Let's say we take a class field trip to go to Sharp Top Mountain. The higher we go on the mountain, the colder it's going to get, the lower the temperature is going to be, because the higher you go up, the higher the altitude, the lower the temperature. And it's the same for the air pressure, the lower the air pressure. Now, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of our experiment that we're going to be doing tomorrow. Don't forget to bring in your AHA book foldable, because if you don't bring in your foldable, you will not be able to do the experiment until I see your AHA book. But first, there are some activities that you're going to do that I have on the back of your AHA book, and I want you to complete one of them before you come to class tomorrow. Now, one of them they'll be fun, so don't worry. One of them is to create a game for the class to play tomorrow about humidity. Now, that means you would have to do a little bit more research, but make the game super fun, and we will play it as long as your facts are right. And even if they're not right, we'll just work on them and correct them, and then we'll play your game. A second activity that you could do, or another activity that you could do if you don't want to create a game, you could explain to me if you think that a barometer is a good way to measure air pressure. Now, if you remember, we said a barometer is the way that you measure air pressure, and there are many different ways that you can make a barometer. In fact, we're going to make a barometer in class tomorrow. So, explain to me if you think that is a good way to measure air pressure. And if you don't think that's a good way to measure air pressure, tell me a way that you think would be beneficial or a good way to measure air pressure. Next, if you don't want to do either of those ideas, you can compare and contrast air pressure and air temperature. You can make a chart, you can do whatever. Just show me how they're similar, show me how they're different. And lastly, if you don't want to do either of those three things, you can draw a diagram of how air pressure, air temperature, and humidity affect the weather. Now, one of these activities has to be done. All four of them don't have to be done, but you have to complete at least one of them. So complete one of those and bring that to class as well tomorrow. Now, for our experiment tomorrow, we will be looking at air pressure and air temperature. We will have 2 soda bottles. We will be doing a lot of shaking up the soda bottles because we want to see, as we shake up the soda bottles, the temperature of the liquid and the temperature of the air inside the soda bottle is going to go up. And so we want to see how, when the temperature goes up, we want to see how the air pressure is going to be. We're going to have stoppers, we're going to have thermometers, we're going to have there's even going to be a little mini experiment where we have balloons to see how air pressure or air temperature, how the molecules inside the soda bottle will be affected, and we'll have a balloon to see that. We will also even make a barometer, because we're going to be making we're going to be looking at the air pressure over over a couple weeks, or maybe even just 1 week, we'll see. But don't forget everything we learned about humidity today, because that will also be important, because either later on this week or next week we will do an experiment with humidity as well. Don't forget to fill out your AHA books and bring them to class, and I can't wait to see you tomorrow.